Welcome back to Packernet. JJ Leahy and Ryan Schlip to start this off. And the fact that can't throw Jake Shavink's name in there at the beginning is throwing me off. He says he'll be on here in a few minutes, but he says a lot of things, such as I'm on my way, I'll be right there, So listen, we're going up against Will Levis, and this has been like the year of me hating on Will Levis this year. So I'm pretty excited for all the opportunities to dunk on him.
This is your year for sure.
Also, it's been kind of fun being able to dunk on the Bears yet again because Caleb Williams has been super elite, and so we've all been enjoying watching that. And as any of you who tuned in last week will know, we do have a new segment on this show, which is WOTE, worst of all the week. All right. So we're definitely going to be getting into some WOTEs that we want to nominate. Oh, hey, Donald is in the chat already nominating his first WOTE. Yep. All NFL teams having touchdown phobia. Field goals are being kicked at double the normal rate from what I could find. It does feel like there's a lot of teams that are just struggling. Yep. And even like if you look at the Saints, who are just going gangbusters with just a crazy number of points being scored, and like the Cardinals had a bajillion points scored. Mm-hmm. You look at like it's been a disastrous year for fantasy football this year. Yes. I look at like, hey, I got a couple Cardinals on my fantasy team, and they're not putting up any fantasy points at all. And then I see they scored like 40 points. And I'm like, where did all the points go? Because
the running back, I have him. They all went to him.
It's crazy. It's the same thing with Alvin Kamara with the Saints. It's just
yeah.
It's just bizarre. So thankfully I did draft Devon Achane. So that's been nice.
There you go.
He's been a beast. But yeah, like everybody else, all the big, normal name big time producers for fantasy are just laying eggs every week. It's just crazy. Except for the Packers. Packers, despite not having a quarterback, laid a hurt on the Colts. It was fun to watch. Ryan, let's talk real quick about what we're thinking about this Jeff Hafley defense so far through 2 games. Super small sample size against 2 pretty unique offenses. And, obviously guys have to get used to the new scheme and all that, I guess. But what are your thoughts through 2 games?
I mean, I kind of just have like operating theories on how things are. Obviously, like you said, it's been 2 weeks, so we got to see how it all pans out. I do like Hafley. I like the aggressiveness. I like the fact that he's like one of those rare politicians that makes promises and delivers. He said, we're going to do this, and it's like, oh, wow, those some other things might not be working, but the stuff he said was going to work is working. I like what he does up front. If you watch the way he tries to generate pressure, it's really impressive. And I know that was a lot of things like you and other people that knew Hafley from college talked about in terms of his ability to generate pressures and whatnot, the stunts, twists, whatever. If you look at even the pressure that was generated on that pick that McKinney got, just the timing of it all. I felt like with Jeff Hafley, or not with Jeff Hafley, with like Joe Barry, when he wanted to blitz a linebacker, it was just you guys run and then also you run. And that was the extent of it. So you'd have the normal rushers and then you'd have Quay just charging into a group of people. It doesn't work. This is timing. This is you go here, then pause, because it's setting everything up so that the timing works so that somebody can get through. And that's why whenever I see extra rushers, it almost seems to work every single time. So that has been impressive. The coverage even seems really confusing. I saw a lot of coaches doing breakdowns on that and just the way that they move and motion. On one of the plays you had McKinney lined up on the line of scrimmage. He ended up all the way on the deep other side of the field. So really getting inside the heads of guys like Will Levis trying to understand what the heck is going on. The negative side of it is that I don't think our players are playing very well. I think that they're being kind of the opposite of what we've been saying for years. We have good players being not put in a position to succeed. I feel like guys are put in a position to succeed and it's working, but the production has been terrible. Our entire defensive line has been kind of awful. The linebackers have been terrible, aside from the guys that have had like 4 snaps apiece. That includes McDuffie. Yep. I know he's a big fan favorite, but he's been awful. Quay has been awful. Kenny has been awful. Preston has been awful. Rashawn had 1 good game and 1 terrible game. It's just been down the line putrid. And so, again, it's week 2, so I'm hoping that this kind of picks up. It's not a mobile quarterback. You've had some time in the system. This is kind of when I'm hoping, I'm going to have a hard time making excuses after this week. But I feel like they're Halfley is compensating for some of the mistakes, but guys are going to have to wake up because this is not going to be good enough against teams like the Chiefs and guys with good offensive lines and quarterbacks that know how to deal with weird stuff and motions and all that kind of stuff. So it's good enough to beat garbage teams. We're going to have to put this together in the next couple of weeks, though.
Fortunately, especially while we don't have Jordan Love, we're facing a few garbage teams in a row at the moment. Yeah. Tool for this says, I hate to say this, but Quay went full woat this week. He was pretty bad.
That was rough.
Harry Cheese, I'm going to get to your comment in a second because we're going to spend quite a bit of time talking about your comment. So I'm going to skip you for a minute. I'm going to nominate another woat from our defense. Mr. Kenny Clark, I nominated him last week, and kind of impossibly, he almost got worse in week 2.
Yes.
So far this year, he has a 39 PFF grade, and his tackling grade is a 70. His pass rush is a 65, and he has a 60 frickin' coverage grade. All right? Do the math. His run defense grade is in the toilet.
Yeah.
We're not good against the run, and I squarely blame Kenny Clark for abandoning his lane on almost all rushing downs. It's like every time he's at, it's like Halfley at some point told him, like, dude, you're going to get a lot of sacks in this defense. And he's like, oh, word. And every single snap, actually, I texted you something stupid earlier. I said, I think that Kenny wants to be a defensive end, and they keep lining him up at defensive tackle. And he's like, well, screw you, bro. I'm still going to rush off the edge, even though you line me up in the middle. So he runs sideways around the whole offensive line. And then meanwhile, there's Saquon or Jonathan Taylor or whoever it's going to be next week trucking up the middle. And hey, why is there a linebacker in the A gap as the only person there to try and stop this 300-pound running back? It's because Kenny's screaming off the edge trying to sack the quarterback who hasn't been holding the ball for 0.8 seconds already. So Kenny was my woe
to make
last
matters
week,
worse, not
this week.
Yeah, to make matters worse, not only is there a massive gap because of Kenny, but Quay is the guy that has to make the stop in that gap, and that's a freaking joke.
Yeah, I mean, all the linebackers are terrible. So there's that. I mean, everybody's excited about Edgerrin Cooper and the 17 snaps he's played so far, which we were promised that his snaps were going to go way up in week 2 after the first game. So I don't know if he's banged up or what, but
yes.
Yeah, so we're gonna hit this one here. Donald, he nominates Pack Daddy himself as woat for not giving us our laughing at the enemy that we demand. I mean, listen, Donald, there's still time. I feel like you're sort of prematurely nominating Ryan here, but also I suppose you got to deliver on that, Ryan.
I do appreciate you putting a little pressure on me. So I literally pulled out a spreadsheet because I always, like, days creep up on me. I'm like, okay, this day you have to do this. This day, you have to talk about the Titans at some point. I already got tomorrow figured out. So I kind of looked at it and said, this is the day where you have to do laughing at the enemy or you are a big fat liar. So I got it on the calendar. It has to be done. I will do what I can do.
Heck yeah. Creed Bratton's cartwheel PFF grade is a 73. It was amazing. All right. Rewinding to Harry Cheese. Can we nominate the Titans or maybe just Will Levis? Because he real bad. I love you, Harry Cheese. Yeah, Will Levis is horrible. Here's the thing. This week, Will Levis is going to annoy the crap out of me because he's going to complete some gorgeous bomb, because that's the only thing he can do is hit random 70-yard touchdown passes, which is never enough to actually win the game. But I would like to quote the Titans head coach when he said, if we had punted on every 1st and 10, we would have won the game. All right. That's how freaking horrible his quarterback was.
What was the quote too? I got to go pull it up, but I just vaguely heard it. The head coach, after I think it was week 2, talking about Will Levis, just did not hide anything. Usually you kind of like use coaching language or whatever. At some point he made some comment to the effect of like, he's a grown man. He needs to like learn to make better decisions than that. Like he's a freaking grown up. It was the biggest slap in the face ever.
Well, I mean, look, you go draft this kid who still thinks it's funny to, pretend that he likes to drink mayonnaise for attention. All right.
Sure.
Listen, the dude does not enjoy drinking mayonnaise. He's your typical idiot high school kid who, you've all met him, thinks it's hilarious. It's a great way to get attention by pretending that you're weird. Okay. He does not actually like mayonnaise. It's just for attention. And somehow, even though he has now finished college and is in the NFL, he's still 14. All right. So, yeah, I mean, it's not really a surprise that they want him to grow up a bit.
Yeah.
Too old for this. Can we do what Matt Ramage does and call him Will Levi's until he earns his name to be said properly? All right,
That's fair.
I'm down with it. Will Levi's.
I think that's a good rule. We should find people that suck, call them the wrong name, and say they have to earn it back.
That's pretty good. Dude, Yannick is ripe for the picking, though.
That's true.
Man. JB12, we got an X commenter. Heck yeah. Rocking Aaron Jones avatar. Packers Aaron Jones, I'll specify. Ryan, I would love to see you break down how the new DCs are doing so far in the pod. Zach Orr was a huge name, but doesn't appear to be doing so well. I would second that, but say probably it would make sense to wait till further on in the year. I think
it's a good idea. And yeah, it's too early to do anything like this is definitively what's happening, but just out of curiosity. And I'd probably want to do it compared to how they were last year. Like I know the Packers defense does not rank very well like in DVOA, but it is better than last year. Like they were 28th in run defense and they're 22nd now or something. So it's like it sucks, but it also improved. So that would be interesting. And then comparatively to a team like the Ravens or something like that, that obviously was an elite defense. They could be 10th and be going in the wrong direction compared to the Packers.
Dude, the chat is on fire tonight. The only thing they're not doing right now is super chatting and donoing. But, other than that.
That's all right. As long as you give us stuff to talk about, we're happy.
Too old for this says DCs are doing better than Marvels, in my opinion, right now. That's pretty good. Jared Schroeder says, Will Levi's is the human Patrick Starr. Is mayonnaise an instrument? And then Too Old for This asks, isn't Will Levi's also the guy who eats bananas with the peel on? Yes, he is. All right. So again, do you think that it's real? Or do you think that he has the brain of a 14-year-old and just thinks that it's funny to act like an idiot? He doesn't enjoy this stuff.
Guaranteed this dude goes up to like his wide receivers and like farts at their locker room and thinks it's funny.
See,
pull
and
my
like
finger.
See, and Favre did stuff like that too, but the difference was Favre was an elite football player.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's good. He can do it. He can be as stupid as he wants.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same thing with like Caleb. Like if you're a Hall of Fame player, you can paint your nails, you can do whatever stuff you want. Otherwise, we're gonna make fun of you for it. That's just the way it goes.
Speaking of which, we're starting this new segment on the show this week called What the National Media Won't Tell You. But we may also have to do Caleb Williams' Fact of the Week. That might be a recurring Ryan segment.
Boy.
But So I kind of think we should start in with some of our what the national media won't tell you. I will tell you, the national media will not tell you that Jaden Reed is wide receiver 1 for the Packers.
Mm.
Matter of fact, he's about to be wide receiver 1 for the NFL. Dude is on fire. Some of us are calling Jaden Reed the Xavier McKinney of the Packers offense.
I think that's fair. Are you going to make me go? Because I'm really trying to come up with something.
I can stall while you think of something. Jared says Will Levi's is a government conspiracy.
There it is. That's a great what the media won't tell you.
We have sponsored by Mr. Kurt Bankert. The national media won't tell you that no wide receiver that Aaron Rodgers doesn't throw to is ever open because there's under somewhere on the field.
I don't know. I said this on social media, but I genuinely don't know what's wrong with that guy. I mean, I feel more comfortable saying, I don't mean Kurt Bankert, although ditto.
Oh, I thought that was who you meant.
No, I'm talking about Aaron Rodgers with that play that you're talking about. We talked about it a lot when he was in Green Bay, and obviously you had the quarterback defenders as well as the Rodgers defenders that wanted to pretend it wasn't happening. But that play is one of the most egregious I've ever seen because, first of all, there's only 2 guys running routes. So the whole well, you don't know where he's looking. Yes, I do, because there's only 2 guys running routes down the field, and you can see his head go from this one to this one. So you can absolutely see it. Just for the context, for those that don't know, Aaron Rodgers, first of all, has been doing this for a long time, even back with the Packers, where there will be a guy wide open, he's looking at him and just doesn't throw it and gets rid of it. And a lot of people pretended it wasn't happening and you don't know ball and all that crap. There is a play where his number 1 wide receiver by a mile, elite guy, one of 2 guys on opposite sides of the field running routes, he gets behind the defense. Rodgers has the ball, looks dead at him, and then goes, nope, comes off of him, looks at his second receiver, and then says, oh, shoot, I'm under pressure, runs away, and then I think he threw it away before he got a sack. I don't know. But, I mean, he's been doing that for years, and I can't comprehend how somebody who's really intelligent, understands how football works, understands the concepts. He should have understood that he was probably going to be open based on what the defense was doing and what the offense was doing. And then he looked at him and he saw that he was open, not like open for a little while, like behind the defense open, not like the safety's coming, nothing. Wide open, and goes, I don't know, man, a little risky, and comes off it. Like something is broken with that guy. I don't know what it is, but I just don't think he's going to be able to ever get back to MVP status because as good as he is and his arm and everything else, you can't do that and be good. You can't miss wide, not just miss, you can't not throw to wide open receivers because your brain freaks out. I don't know what's wrong with that guy.
Well, I'm not joking here. The national media will not tell you that Aaron Rodgers was one of the worst quarterbacks in all of football in 2022, his last year with the Packers. He ranked exactly at or near the bottom in most important metrics. It was
similarly
we're
the
talking
national
like
media won't tell
33rd
you
or 34th best quarterback in the league in EPA per play, that kind of crap.
Yes. Well, yeah, and of course everybody else got blamed, but similarly what the media won't tell you, Aaron Rodgers should not have won MVP in 2021. It wasn't even close,
and listen,
in my opinion.
Listen, I really like Aaron Rodgers. I'm not an Aaron Rodgers hater. I'm also a facts lover. So if we're talking about what's real and what isn't real, I'm not going to blow smoke and say, you know what, green and gold till I'm dead and cold, and therefore Aaron Rodgers is and always will be elite. And it has nothing to do with the fact that he left the Packers.
Yeah.
It's just facts. And look, I thought against the 49ers, I thought that Rodgers looked pretty good, actually. I thought he had a pretty good day.
Sure.
But yeah, in 2021, week 1 against the Saints, obviously a horrible game, whatever, mulligan, it happens sometimes. Then he goes on an absolute tear for like 10 games, locks up MVP, and then just lays goose egg after goose egg to finish the season. The last like month of the 2021 season, he was the problem with the offense. Now there were reasons why what he wanted to do wasn't working. He's missing MVS. Okay, great. So the defense can't stretch the field the way they want to. Okay, there's other ways to run an offense, and it's being dialed up by your play calling head coach and your offensive coordinator. They are coming up with guys, they are scheming open on a play. And you are choosing not to throw to them because you are staring down Devontae before you even tell Josh Myers to hike the ball. So, no, he didn't deserve MVP in 2021. I cheered that he did get it because I like Aaron Rodgers, and and I'm happy to see good things happen to him. But 2022, like, it was not this sudden weird flip of the switch that at the beginning of 2022, all of a sudden he stinks. No, that started in 2021. So the last time that he has been MVP Aaron Rodgers was about 3/4 of the way through the season 3 years ago. So
forgot the heck I was going to say. Oh yeah, similar to what you and it's not to make it about the Jets or about Rodgers or whatever. I mean, the reason that I got annoyed about that is because, number one, people were lying to your face saying it wasn't happening when it very clearly was. And as you said, as a truth lover, that ticks me off like nothing else. Because you don't want to admit that Aaron Rodgers can do anything wrong. I have to be gaslit to the point where I can watch a guy running wide open down the screen, and you're telling me I don't know ball because technically that bull crap. I know he could have thrown that ball, and I watch it every single game. And then on top of that, all of 2022, we had to be gaslit into believing that Matt LaFleur sucks, that every other wide receiver, the offensive line, the GM, everybody in this organization that I'm also a fan of, not just the quarterback, everybody else is a piece of crap. They're worthless, and Aaron Rodgers is dragging them. So it's not just Aaron Rodgers. It's the whole narrative around it that trashed everybody else on our team for years. And so, yeah, when I'm sitting here kind of casually watching, snickering as Aaron Rodgers sits 20th right now in EPA per dropback, maybe that's a little petty, but at the same time, it's not even so much petty toward Rodgers as it is everybody else who tried to lie to me about what was going on with Aaron Rodgers. I don't have any ill will toward Aaron Rodgers because he wasn't the one gaslighting me. He wasn't the one saying that his wide receivers suck or that Matt LaFleur is a bum. No, it was all the fans who were saying that. It was all the people who are obsessed with Aaron Rodgers who were saying that. So, yes, I'm annoyed.
Doofuses on TV, too.
Right. Oh, the national media. Yeah. That's why Matt LaFleur to this day can't get any respect because they still can't come off of that. They were so ingrained in the idea that he's a terrible coach because everybody should be able to get better when you have a guy like Rodgers and he can't do it. And you would have thought when Rodgers left and didn't perform and Love comes in and looks good, that the light bulb would have, now I understand. No, they pretended it didn't happen, move on. It's like, oh yeah, he's a little better, but I'm not going to give him all that credit. It's bull crap. It's just, and again, people don't want to just face up to reality. That's why I engage with Bears fans so much. People kind of laugh about it. Like, because they won't acknowledge reality and it annoys me. That's why. I don't get mad at Vikings fans because they acknowledge reality. I don't care if they say stuff that I don't like. It's not about whether I like it. It's about whether it's true. When Bears fans say their defense is good, that doesn't annoy me. I'm not going to argue with you because you're right. But if you're telling me that Bears fans always expected this to happen with Caleb because he's developing and everybody understands that this is a development phase. Yeah, like we haven't been listening to you say that he's going to win MVP or at least Offensive Rookie of the Year, that he isn't going to crack 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns, which he is not even close to on pace for, pretending that you haven't been saying that, again, trying to gaslight me into believing that everybody knew this was going to happen, which is exactly what they said about Justin Fields. They talked all offseason about how he's going to win MVP, and then when things don't go well, it's like, well, we knew this was going to happen. Well, what do you expect with this offensive line? Oh, I don't like people gaslighting me, I guess. Just don't lie. Just tell the truth. That's it. You know the truth.
I also can't not be consistent either. So, like, do you remember this play? Do you remember this?
Yeah.
That's Mitch Trubisky.
Right.
He didn't throw this ball. He ends up tucking it and running it for like a 3-yard gain. All right.
Right.
And a bunch of Bears fans were upset that we would screenshot this and go, okay, yeah, it looks super bad if you pause it on one frame. But if you actually play the clip, like that gap closed in a millisecond. And what I said consistently was, yeah, because right now on that exact frame is not when you throw the freaking ball.
Right now is when the ball should have been in his chest.
Exactly. And so this is why I get really frustrated when idiots like Kurt Benkert start squawking about, well, it looks like this guy is open, but actually if you throw the ball, the defender is going to get there before the ball does, or at the same time. And like, dude, yeah. And that's why you don't want to have a crappy quarterback who's going to wait until that moment to throw the freaking ball. Because yes, it will get picked if you wait until the route is past the point where it's supposed to be developed. You throw it in time with anticipation so it freaking gets there when the guy is this open. And so if I'm cramping on Mitch Trubisky and Justin Fields because they hold on to the ball for an extra second or a second and a half, and the guy's like, the receiver's flapping his arms around like, please throw me the ball, I'm also going to criticize Aaron Rodgers or Jordan Love when they're doing the same thing. And I don't need to have some person who, just needs to prove that they love Rodgers more than I do to come out and defend him and go, well, that wide receiver just actually sucks. And so actually if he threw it, the guy actually wouldn't be able to come down in bounds. How about you throw it and find out? How about you throw it when you're supposed to, so that when that guy came open and turned around and said, hey, where's the freaking ball? The ball should have already been there by then.
Right. It's also why I'll listen, there is a point to be made about using a screenshot to analyze defense. Like I completely understand that there are times when the screenshot doesn't represent things properly, but people then so it's funny how people who have no idea what they're talking about take little nuggets and then make it their own thing and then misapply it. So, for example, somebody will show a screenshot and then somebody will pull up tape and be like, see, this is why the screenshot doesn't work. This is why I don't like screenshots. Okay, fair enough. Then you get people who pretend that they're super geniuses who anytime they see a screenshot that they don't like, say, oh, you would. Only idiots post screen. Sometimes the screenshot is right. I was thinking about this today. Like, I could have taken a screenshot of that Aaron Rodgers play and showed everybody why I was right. And I would have been right to do that. But I know all the super geniuses would have come along and go, oh, look at this guy. He doesn't know like the rest of us. He doesn't have the intelligence like the rest of us to know you can't use screenshots to you need to really get into the tape. No, I don't. The screenshot is adequate here. I understand that sometimes it doesn't work. I get that. But for illustration purposes, I'm telling you what I saw, and I'm giving you this as a demonstration, showing you with full understanding that I've seen the full play and that this doesn't get refuted when you push play. This is the problem right here. But immediately everybody would dismiss it because they've been told over the last year that anybody that posts a screenshot is an idiot. And that's not how that works. But it's freaking social media and people just parrot what everybody else says. And it's so annoying.
Josh has what might be my favorite comment of the night so far. Maybe if Kurt Benkert knew what an open receiver was, he would still be in the league.
I honestly don't know why I don't like him, but every time he says something, it's nails on a chalkboard.
I think it's because he's an arrogant D-bag. And
yeah, I mean, that's a big part of it.
Wrong
for sure.
When he's being a D-bag about football. He's also wrong.
That annoys me more. When you're wrong and then super condescending and then pull the I would know I was in the NFL card. Nah, dude. No, that's a big FU right there. And which is why it's hilarious when you have Hall of Fame quarterbacks dunking on you saying, actually, you're wrong about that. I thought that was the funniest damn thing in the world.
Harry says Rodgers doesn't trust his guys. That's true. That is part of the problem. And I think that it's that he doesn't trust his offensive line, which, okay, that does come with getting old like he is, where the sacks hurt more and even just getting hit hurts more. And so you get freaked out about taking a hit. He does stare his guys down, stare his receiver down pre-snap way too often and then lock in on them. And like, you can see his helmet turning like he's going through the motions, but like his pupils are probably drilled on the guy that he's wants to throw it to. And you can
Yeah.
tell because as soon as the guy hits his break, even if he's in triple coverage, the ball comes out.
Yeah.
Going more positive though. Donald says, I was impressed that Willis didn't fumble that play, especially after watching Joe Burrow fumble like 2 times for no reason at the 4:00 slot. I don't know what the comment is in response to.
Yeah, I don't know what play that would be. The one where he
well, I
ran,
remember it
suppose.
was relatively early on in the game, and Willis kind of, runs around kind of like Caleb does, and just about gets sacked. And in that moment, I thought he was going to fumble because we've had, he's a little bit of a different type of quarterback than what we've had. And like we've seen Jordan and Aaron fumble in moments like that because they're not built the way Malik is. Malik just kind of squirrels out of there. And I think he ended up getting a completion to Tucker Kraft on that play for like, I don't know, not very many yards, but it was interesting and kind of an exciting moment to me. Do we want to have a Malik Willis conversation about sort of what we're expecting from him this week?
Sure. I would like to just point out quickly, though, it's 7:38.
Yeah. Wow. Jake, late again, as usual. Huh. Yep. Interesting. It's almost like you don't care about us. Is that why you were pointing it out? Was just to dunk on Jake?
A little bit, yeah, but I'm sorry. I was just looking on social media, and somebody's comment to something I posted is, I will beat you with hammers. All right. I guess I didn't make that person very happy. I will beat you with hammers. That's funny. I'm just going to like that. I don't know. I mean, that might be a real threat, but I'm just going to like.
Was this in response to your Darnell Wright thing?
No, it's the you won't be punting much, Caleb Williams.
Oh, yeah. Still a Bears thing, like obviously.
Yeah, obviously. Dude just says, I do have to give with hammers.
I'm going to give Bears fans some credit, though. I will just say, as dumb as some of the things that they say are, they are fun as heck to go back and forth with on Twitter. First of all, like they never give up. So it's like an endless source of entertainment.
If you really want to just get out some frustration, just lock in with a Bears fan. You can spend all day. I have wasted too much time and have lost entire days to Bears fans.
It's so much fun. And I'm not like actually trolling a lot of the time when I'm talking to them. It's just like, it's just really fun because they come at you with the easiest arguments to refute. And so you feel like a super genius every time you are knocking down their straw man silly arguments.
That's also why it's so hard to walk away, because it's like, I'm not going to respond. And then they say something so stupid. It's like, it's a freaking slam dunk, dude. Like you're setting me up on the tee. Like, just let me hit this one out of the park and then I'll be done after this one. And they just keep doing it.
I promise I'm actually trying to pay a real compliment to Bears fans here. I actually am. The other thing I love about Bears fans is how much they genuinely love their team. Because you talk to some other fan bases.
That is true.
Like Titans fans, dude, Titans fans hate the Titans right now. It's bizarre talking to them. And yeah, I mean, makes sense. The Titans suck. But like you can find the suckiest Bears team, and these Bears fans they're still not really crapping on their own team that much. They still love their team. And like they can get into it with you in these arguments, but then it doesn't get out of hand the way it does with some other fan bases. Like when we had the whole thing with the Jets, like how many times would you have a conversation with a Jets fan where it just kind of got out of hand and they got, weird or like, really angry, like that kind of thing. Like, okay, you had your little hammers comment, but I feel like that's not really that big of a deal. I've said this a number of times in all my years of engaging angry fan bases on Twitter. I have received death threats twice, and they were both from different Chiefs fans. Mm-hmm. So there's 31 NFL teams whose fan bases have never escalated to that level of anger before. And then one team.
Plus, you almost never have any reason to engage with a Chiefs fan.
Right?
So, yeah.
Yeah, I was calling their GM Brett Veach overrated.
Yeah.
And
That'll do it.
And yeah.
And then they start threatening to beat you with hammers.
Too old for this says they're Titans fans. Here's the thing, like, dude, Nashville knows how to get down. I will just say they're
Yeah. The only thing good about being a Titans fan would be the fact that you live in Nashville.
Harry says, have you seen Bears fans over the past 30 years? They troll themselves. It's true. True.
I'll even take it up a notch too. You mentioned like Titans fans. I would say that they are much more willing to defend their team than Packers fans, like by a lot. If Jordan Love came out and played like Caleb has the first 2 weeks,
oh yeah,
you might have two guys still supporting. I mean, I wouldn't be like trashing him super hard necessarily, but it's like, oh, this ain't gonna work. Like I mean, maybe he can be good, but this is freaking bad. I would not be saying what Bears fans are saying, coming out and being like, bro, this is just development. This is how it goes. He's going to be elite. Like, don't worry about it. Okay, fair enough.
Jared says, since you brought up hammers, the next Packers tight end should be Theo. How do you say his middle name? Theo Malin Orstrom from Texas A&M. His nickname is Thor. Then we have Thor and Hercules on the same team. It's pretty cool. We did actually receive a listener request this week to do what was it, a silly names segment again. We've done that a couple times on here, but somebody requested the 2024 version or edition of that. So we'll have to do that in the next week or two when Jacob wants to participate. Thomas Austin says Lions fans are F. I think is he giving him an F grade? It's probably an F grade, which I can get behind that.
It's even funnier if you just assume he means the F word.
Thomas also says Eagles fans on social media are okay. Yeah, but Eagles fans in person make up for it. All right.
Which is really weird. They're maybe the only, not only fan base, the only people group that is more polite on social media than when you meet them in person.
And like, dude, I have always felt, and maybe I am completely alone in this, but I have always felt that the Eagles football team is really easy to like.
Yeah.
But then just the city of Philadelphia and their garbage, angry fan base, just mean fan base. Like every time I start thinking like warm and fuzzy thoughts about the Eagles, like, oh, you know what? Gangrene. Like, they're kind of the Packers of the East. I like them. Then you see clips of them throwing frozen oysters at Vikings fans and stuff. And you're like, nah.
I always just forget. Like, I feel bad about it because I'm like, oh yeah, the Eagles. Like, I kind of like the Eagles. It's like, did you forget about their fans? Oh crap, that's right. Their fans suck. I can't like the Eagles. I keep forgetting about that.
I kind of feel a similar way about the Chiefs. I think I'm the only person out there who's not a Chiefs fan who likes the Chiefs. I think everybody else hates them and is
the Chiefs
has kind of like considered them the new Patriots.
Yes.
But I did and do still hate the Patriots because of all the patrioting, for all those years and all the just smothering of the rest of the league.
I agree.
I just don't feel the same way about the Chiefs. I think that I'm just still so grateful that the Patriots are dead that I'm like, whatever. I don't care. If you're gonna be my new ruler for the next 20 years, whatever. At least it's finally not Tom Brady anymore. But like I said, their freaking fan base is just the worst. They drive me nuts.
Well, it makes it worse too because like if it's Jets fans or Eagles fans or somebody else, you can almost take it because they're diehards. Every single Chiefs fan is a bandwagon fan. Every single one of them. There might be like 40 people that have been Chiefs fans since the 90s and stuck it out, and they're probably really good people. Every single one of these death threat D-bags probably lives in like, I don't know, Chicago, first of all. They're 16 years old. They started watching football 3 years ago and decided to jump on the Chiefs bandwagon, and now they're like diehards who are going to threaten anybody that challenges them. It's the most fake garbage ever.
All right, we got a Would You Rather, sponsored by Tool for this. tighten
Lord and
up
Savior
or
Taylor
bear down, which is the worst motto in the league. I'm also going to nominate Keep Pounding by the Carolina Panthers.
Eesh. That's rough.
Like I heard one person one time was complaining about how the Jaguars motto is the Duval, and I'm like, dude, it gets so much worse than that. Like, honestly, screaming the name of your city is just not, or your county
Yeah,
is
it's
just
not
not that
your
big of a
county.
deal.
Yeah,
When
I think
there's Keep Pounding right next door,
oof.
Duval is fine by me.
I mean, keep pounding and bear down are awful. Keep pounding for obvious reasons that does not need to be mentioned. But bear down is like, you guys realize it's like a negative, right? Like man down or something. Like it's not a good thing. And when I think
Right,
about like
right.
bear down in terms of like bear down on something, I think, I mean, the only time I can think about that is like you're struggling in the bathroom or something. Like you really got to bear down on it. Like there's no positive connotation about bear down in my mind. All I can think is yeah, bear down again. It's another year where the Bears suck. We got to bear down over here. I don't and like I don't understand what is the context supposed to be that's positive.
I mean,
What does it mean? How is it a good thing? I don't even
have
ask
you
the
ever
freaking
met
robot.
a Bears fan who was capable of putting in that much thought into?
I suppose I'm overthinking it, I guess.
Here, Ryan, this one's for you. This probably can
Hey.
fall under what the national media won't tell you. Rant away. Here we go. From GR7070. Did I hear Matt LaFleur say "we fence" in the locker room this weekend? Ryan, what is "we fence"? Can you explain? What does that have to do with urine?
You know, speaking of speaking of terrible names, what is it with the Packers coming up with the worst nicknames ever? Like
Oh,
they
yeah.
came up with D Train for the defense, and when I saw that, I thought, like somebody's gonna catch this and be like, guys, no, like you can't. Nobody caught it. And everyone's like, yeah, D Train. Like, no, my lord, cannot believe they wrote. And players were all about like the D Train. I'm like, guys, stop saying that. Then we come up with We Fence, which is the most kindergarten bull crap I have ever heard in my entire life. It's for special teams, if you didn't know. You got offense, you got defense, and We Fence, because we all work together on We Fence. It is such kumbaya bull crap. It's like this does not belong in a locker room. And we went from one extreme to the other, by the way. We went pornographic to like kindergarten. Can we just either stop with the nicknames or just come up with something normal? I don't know what it is. Figure something out that isn't just the dumbest freaking thing in the world. Matt LaFleur needs to stop trying to come up with names because I think he's the one doing this and it's a disaster. I think downward dog.
Bear down, I think downward dog. Bear down for the horrible years ahead. Harry Cheese says "we fence" is lame defense. Too old for this. I feel like our entire team leadership worked at a summer camp in the offseason as counselors for 3-year-olds. Or we built a fence and didn't figure out whose land it is, so it's the "we fence." All right. GR7070 says, "How about play well first?" Yeah, I did just want to acknowledge that it was right about the time that we started calling it the "we fence" that our special teams became the special needs teams.
Yep.
There's a lot that the Matt LaFleur Packers do really well, and overall, I'm pretty happy and satisfied with where the Packers are at. I don't have a lot of things to gripe about, but being 32nd in run defense EPA since LaFleur got here is not okay. And consistently being anywhere from 28th to 32nd on special teams since he got here is also not okay. So those are the two things that annoy me, but there's a lot that's going right for the Packers, so I suppose I will stop whining for once.
I think
we need to make a wish. We already had our make a wish. That was Big B.
This year, I just figured I'd look it up since you brought it up. I haven't looked at it yet. I think it's worse for DVOA, but EPA per rush from the defensive standpoint, Packers are 14th right now. Believe it or not.
That is
14th
interesting.
best at stopping the run, according to EPA.
I don't believe it, but it sounds good.
Yeah. Sounds like a Caleb Williams. Yeah, I think we're all on the same page. No need to elaborate.
I got people mad because I posted that thing about Kurt Benkert saying that the wide receiver, that Garrett Wilson wasn't open, and people are mad on Rodgers' behalf. I wasn't even crapping on Rodgers in the post, but they're mad. Breaking news: Rodgers is human and has misses in a game. I know it's shocking. It doesn't happen.
Oh
often.
my Lord, I hate that so much.
The only thing I hate more
hate
is the well, how many MVPs have you won? I'd like to see you go out and complete a 50-yard pass. Like, dude, nobody has ever wanted me to play quarterback for them ever, and I've never pretended to be a quarterback. There is such a thing as holding a guy to his own standard, the standard he has set of how good he can be. This is what I said during the 2022 season when he was ranking anywhere from 28th to 34th best in all these different advanced quarterback metrics. I kept saying, this is not what Aaron Rodgers normally is. And to pretend that it is to diminish and insult what he has been throughout his career up to prior to this year.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems with that. Number one, it's just a weak, lame cop out. Number two, it pretends that like mistakes are just the same across the board. Like he misses passes. We're not talking about that. This is a unique thing that high school quarterbacks don't do. So it's kind of bigger than that. And number two, do you really think coaches go into the film room and review the tape and they watch a guy miss a tackle and go, but guys, everyone's human, and then they move on to the next one and they just keep saying everyone's no, they're going to call you out and say that's bull crap, don't do that or you're off the team. So this idea that like you're a super genius because you can acknowledge that everybody makes mistakes sometimes, that's not how football works. That's not how the NFL works. It is a production business. You're not supposed to make mistakes, and if you do, you lose your job. And if you're one of the greatest of all time, who has made more money than just about anybody in the entire NFL ever at the quarterback position, and you're making one of the biggest blunders I've ever seen, I'm allowed to talk about it without having you come in and go, sometimes people make mistakes. Go talk to your 4-year-old, okay? Grown-ups are having a conversation about elite human beings who do elite things, okay? This is not kindergarten class. I'm so sick of that crap. Everybody makes mistakes.
Donald wants to know, do the Titans actually do anything good we should worry about? Donald, are you new here? We don't talk about real topics. We goof off. Okay, fine. We can talk some football. We can talk some football. Usually we wait for Jake to make us talk real football.
Yeah, he's supposed to be keeping us in line here.
I guess we're going to have to grow up and just keep ourselves on topic. So the Titans have gotten a lot of praise through 2 weeks for being great on defense.
That's the word.
That's what people are saying.
Yep.
I think they're okay on defense. Harold Landry has 3 sacks. That's impressive. They have racked up 19 pressures through 2 games. Overall, they're a pretty good tackling team, and I think that is a big deal. The pass rush is just kind of meh, but we also are playing with a backup quarterback, so that I think kind of balances out. Their run defense is fine. It's not awesome. I do think that it's mostly going to be about the tackling. A lot of our yardage last week against the Colts came on longer plays, and especially there were a bunch of Josh Jacobs forced a bunch of broken tackles, that kind of thing. And you saw against the Eagles too. Jaden Reed had that magnificent play where he's breaking all these tackles. I do think maybe the Titans play those situations a little bit better and maybe are better at limiting our explosive plays. Ryan, any thoughts on the Titans offensively or defensively?
It kind of reminds me of the Colts because we heard the same thing with the Colts. Like, they've got a pretty good defense to watch out for. And then you look at it and go, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the Titans have historically kind of been, they've had some scary stuff on defense. I don't know if we're just kind of clinging on to that. Granted, I mean, I know some of the stats are certainly in their favor. But I mean, look who decided to show up with 4 minutes left in the show.
All right, Jake, here's your first question. Has Godzilla ever farted in a movie, and what kind of destruction has it done or would it do if he would fart? So take it away, Jake. No, I'm kidding. We're talking about the Titans and what they do well. Oh, we lost him. Well, that was fun for the 3 seconds. He didn't even say anything. He just the audio only
must not have been working.
The audio only.
Either that or he was super ticked at being made fun of.
They're gonna think we're lying.
Yeah, like what are they talking about? Anyways, yeah, some of the stats are kind of in their favor, I guess, and like DVOA and like EPA and all that are, they're top 10 range. But in terms of just looking at their defense, like how many people are terrifying? I mean, Landry does have the pressures and the sacks, which is cool, but I'm not super scared of Landry, period. And this year, like his grade is a 66. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if our offensive line's having a bad day, it could be a thing. I mean, who else do they have? That Chidobe Awuzie is their corner. I don't think he's very good. He never really has been. He's pushing 30. He's never really had a great career. It's not to say these guys are bad, and maybe that's what makes them good is that they don't really have crap players. Maybe, I don't know. That's the best I can really say about them is maybe they just have decent players across the board to kind of make this thing work, but they don't have like those premier elite, pass rushers, defensive tackles, linebackers, corner safety. I don't think they have an elite player anywhere. So I don't want to discount them, but I also don't want to overhype them to the point of like, man, these guys are super dangerous. I think they're beatable if the Packers can be on their game.
Yeah, I will just acknowledge like they are at least a competent defense. They're not a terrifying defense, but before the season began, a lot of people were talking about hey, maybe the Patriots are going to have the first pick in the draft. And I was real big on the idea that no, it's going to be the Titans who have the number 1 pick in the draft because I think that their offense is just going to be horrific.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that they have enough of a defense that they are certainly projecting to have a better record than the Panthers. I mean, just the Panthers can't do anything right on either side of the ball. So I think
how many first round picks can a team get, by the way? I wonder what the record is. I mean, I know they like traded it away, but
technically you can't have more than 32.
I mean, number 1 overall pick. Like, how many years in a row can you be number 1?
Yeah, this will be the 3rd year in a row that they've earned that. That's crazy.
It's Jake. Who's their quarterback that they're going to draft in the upcoming? I don't think we talked about that, but might as well discuss it.
Yeah. Is the audio okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Kind of okay.
It's enough. We'll take.
It's enough. All right. Well,
we'll take what we can get.
Is this better if I turn my phone like this?
Minutes.
Is this fine? Is this better?
No, you're good. You're good. Let's see that beautiful face.
The title of this episode is going to be Jake's amazing 1-minute cameo.
So yeah, apparently there's a adapter into my Mac that definitely does not work. It must have gone through the wash, because when the audio comes through the headphones, using it like connected to the mic, it is like basically like static bursts. It's really bad. So yeah, I'm gonna have to replace that.
Cool mod.
Cabin in Tennessee at the moment.
Dang,
we're behind.
We were just talking about Tennessee and how cool it'd be to be there.
We're behind enemy lines right now. So we're getting some intel on the Titans. Not that we need it. Should be a backbreaking turnover from Levis on Sunday, no matter what happens. But yeah, chilling. My mom wanted to come out here for her birthday, so the family is out here, seeing black bears, hiking, doing all that good stuff. So that's where we're at.
Actually, I was in Indy on game day this past week. So you and I are both doing advanced scouting
There it
for the
is.
Packers. They just don't know it and are not answering our calls. So
Yeah, I've tried to leave messages. I feel like they're just probably, trashing them, which is fine. That's
I see.
after what Matt
I'm
did
looking-
last week.
I
I
can see
think
Will
I think
Levis
he's
is
earned our
peeling his
respect.
banana. It's a lie.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, he's peeling the banana. He actually just put. I watched him put hazelnut creamer in his coffee. The mayo thing. I think the mayo thing also might be a lie. So, but
We did a
as
whole
to
segment.
as
If
to
you can believe
who,
it, we did 30 minutes on mayonnaise and bananas being a lie.
Yeah. Crap,
They
does that mean
probably
I have to
are.
go to Minnesota next week? Is that what we're doing? Am I
Well, you
next on
have
the
by
schedule?
far the least driving of the three of us. Then
Yeah, but it sucks there.
yeah, you could go. Maybe we pick and choose our behind enemy lines. Ryan,
That's
you can
true.
pick and choose if you want to, take a different route. So,
I do, yeah.
but
I'm going
as to the
Jacksonville.
Panthers could draft, man, they might have to trade it if they get one. I don't know. Here's that's the first problem. Like Carson Beck, nice player, good pocket maneuver, all that stuff. I don't think he's mobile enough to handle the disaster that's going on down there. I know the pass protection was fine last week. There's also a lot of quick stuff, so you can, how much is, what part of the equation. And then Shadur Sanders always blames his offensive line, so I don't know if you want him there blaming stuff what's going wrong in Carolina. So
do
they
you
might just
agree
have to
that
pass.
Quinn Ewers is? Do you agree Quinn Ewers is QB1, or are you a Carson Beck truther?
You know, I think there's there might be a chance with Cam Ward. Honestly, I think we might get there. I think there's
All
a
right.
chance for that. I really do. I think as long as the problem with Cam Ward is we're going to have the same thing we talked about with Caleb Williams. It's like, hey, buddy, this sort of in structure thing that you have to do. We need to do that. But I love the arm angle. The arm angles he can generate, enough velocity, enough touch. Like he's got a lot of tools there, but it's going to be that same sort of conversation. But Ewers, I mean, arm talent wise, can you imagine Ewers with all the talent he has with Clements working with him? I don't think the league could be able to handle that, So if there's somebody else out there who's as good as Clements, which I don't feel like there is, maybe there is. Maybe O'Connell is the solution, but they got their QB. So I don't know. But I think those are probably the four names right now. But if I were Carolina, you got to trade it. I mean, you don't have your second next year. I just don't think the QB is going to solve all their problems there. I really don't. And especially if we don't think, which at this point it just feels like we're hoping Sanders or Ward or somebody's going to take a big step down the stretch here. I just feel like we're staring down the barrel of these QBs could be good in the right spot, which is what we should be saying about a lot of them. But I'm not sure I'd send any of them there. I think they got traded.
Jake, can I quote you as saying the national media won't tell you that the real QB1 was the friends we made along the way? Can I quote you?
I think you should quote me and say the national media won't tell you the real QB1 because the real QB1 is just probably Luther Burden, right? He plays receiver, but maybe he could throw,
Or
maybe
Travis
he could throw.
Hunter.
Hunter. Yeah, maybe Hunter is the QB. They haven't tried it yet. Maybe they should. Yeah, you can quote me on yours. It's better. I think it's better.
By the way, Thomas, I did ask, and hilariously, the robot starts off, the best bear is often up for debate.
Robot
I don't even
doesn't
need to read the rest. That's the best part.
I have seen some of the best bear.
Yeah, the black
So
bears
far.
out there. Or...
The cocaine bear.
Yep.
The cocaine bear was the best bear.
No,
You've
haven't
given him
haven't
cocaine?
seen that one. Haven't seen that one out here, but have seen
That's why you
6
went to
black
Tennessee.
bears.
You wanted to give some bears cocaine.
Yeah, no. I legally I should say no, that I was not doing
Okay,
that.
that's true.
Just make sure we're on the pot, not
Yeah, I mean
saying
candy.
things.
We're giving them candy.
No, but we have seen 6 of them in less than 24 hours. So
That's
Dang.
they're
Nice.
all over the place. But maybe they are best. I don't know. they seem, relatively chill, which is great.
All right, Jake, we're going to let you answer one more question here before we got to get out. Would Caleb
How about 5?
work in a Matt LaFleur offense?
Yeah, because I think he made Malik Willis work. I mean, I know that maybe Caleb is really bad and it's just a bust. But like, to me, coming into the NFL, he was better than Malik Willis, right? And for me,
We
clearly
can at least
better.
say that much.
So I feel like we can say he's better than Malik Willis, and we're okay at this point. So yeah, I think he can work. I think he would be totally fine right now out here, especially with first team All Pro offensive tackle Zach Tom as one of his protectors out there.
Dang.
Like I think
Look
he'd be
out.
okay. Yeah.
Dude, using all the advanced metrics, we currently have the number 1 left guard, the number 1 right tackle, and the number 1 QB. All right. Malik Willis leading all quarterbacks in the league after one game. He threw like 9 passes. So I do have to say
we found a lot of things on Sunday. Malik Willis is good. Malik Neighbors, we didn't have to sweat it too long. Had to get that in there. You knew I had to get that in there.
You got to.
So
the only thing that
we knew that
sucks
was
is
coming.
As soon as Malik Neighbors pops off, you got Marvin Harrison showing him up.
Yeah,
might be hurting your campaign a little bit.
Yeah, our camp is we're monitoring that situation. We're just going to chalk it up. The Rams, they're just a mess, and it stinks for them injury wise. I know it's mostly on offense, but got to think everybody's thinking about that out there. So we're gonna chalk that up, and no, not taking any questions about Malik Neighbors against the Commanders defense. We're not taking questions about that. We hear you, but no questions.
Well, Jake, thank you for making a cameo on this, our humble podcast. To the chat, thank you. You were awesome. If you want us to start going over 1 hour again, got to cough up, man. Bring those super chats in, those donos. But
disappointed.
I just got to say, it's happened again. You've wasted another perfectly good hour listening to us here on Packernet Derailed. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week right here. And in the words of the venerable, late, great Mr. Ed Policy,